My name is Charlie. It is December holiday season. Hope you and yours are doing fantastic. I am going to count down the top 10 games of the year according to me. A couple caveats. I might not have beaten all these games. I've played enough to feel good about my decisions on where they go. I have not played every single game. Some of the big hitters like Claire Obscura, Expedition 33, I played a little bit, but not for me. So I moved on. Arc Raiders have not played that. So yeah. Before I get into the top 10, we'll be going from 10 to 1. They are in order of my enjoyment. Avowed was a really good fantasy game from Obsidian. The problem is I'm not a huge fantasy guy, but I enjoyed what I played. The movement was really fast and good, and I like how they really distilled the Bethesda-style game into something leaner and something more action-oriented. Metal Gear Solid Delta. This one is a victim of circumstance. I just didn't invest the time into it. I might take another crack at it. I borrowed it from the library. And just the other day, I played a game all the way through in one sitting. It's only 2 hours, but it's a game about digging a hole. Amazing. If you have $5 in an hour, get it. It's just a very lean game and lets you kind of settle yourself while you're playing. Because it's a game about digging a hole. What could go wrong? And on that same note, I just started playing Unpacking. So that's up there, and I didn't put enough time into it to really add it to this list. Also, that game came out like 5 years ago. So, top 10. Number 10, Doom the Dark Ages. I was not excited about this prequel, but they did a great job changing the action from Doom Eternal, which was very jumpy and platformy, to something where you just feel like a wrecking machine. You got this shield, so you're not always just trying to dodge. You can run straight into things. Just really great stuff. The whole like heavy metal, medieval like type of style, that's not for me. I much preferred the original Doom Eternal, but what they did to the action overcame it. I think Eternal went too far in like the different types of attacks and how much you had to juggle stuff to like refill your various things. This one leaned that down a little bit, and the shield is probably the best weapon of the year. Moving on, Alan Wake 2. This came out, I think, a year and a half ago. Finally got it on discount, got the expanded version, so I played about the entire game and then about half of the expansion content. Really appreciated the game and enjoyed it enough to add it to the list. They do a lot with the shooting, and to a point where I had to dumb it down quite a bit, and I think towards the end I was pretty much on no die mode. Just the mechanics aren't where they need to be for them to be throwing that much stuff at you. And that's coming from someone who's decent at shooters. I mean, I enjoyed Doom the Dark Ages, so like I know what I'm doing, but the action was a little tough based on what they gave you to work with, and also for a dummy like me, the puzzles were a bit obscure at times, and where you needed to go and what you needed to do was a little bit obscure at times. Even if they legitimately told you, it was just not pointed out. I'm not saying put yellow paint on everything you need to do, but they're in their own head a little bit. But the integration of video and the game was amazing. The new character, Saga Anderson, I enjoyed playing her more than Alan Wake. So, like, if they would have just done Saga Anderson and then had Alan Wake be video and also his sort of the bad guy, like, I think that would have been a cool lean down version of the game, but I'm sure gamers would have rioted. Number 8, Like a Dragon, Yakuza in Hawaii. I believe it came out this year. I was going to skip it, but it became available at the library. Glad I played it. I prefer the way they're taking these games, which is the turn-based RPG stuff. This was a beat 'em up again, but I put it on easy and had a great time. The pirate stuff was just enough to be a fun distraction. Not to make it really a pirate game. It's a Yakuza game. The arcade games they put in it were really great. So very happy I played it. Looking forward to playing the next entry. Didn't seem as padded out as some of the other Yakuza games, which was also great. We're sharing the slot at number 7, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds and Mario Kart World. This spot is a really big upgrade for Sega and a really big, almost a flop for Nintendo. Both the games look incredible. They play well. but they fall short of their predecessors. For Sonic Team Racing was trash, but Sonic Transformed is still probably my favorite, just because it really brings in the whole Sega catalog, whereas this one is very Sonic focused, aside from these Cross-Worlds characters they bring in. Most that's trapped behind DLC, which I did not buy. Mario Kart World, the open world was their big innovation. I don't think they did enough with it. They didn't have enough to do in that open world. They could have threw some bosses on that stage, kind of like Diddy Kong Racing. The Knockout Tour was good. I think it could have used some additional refinement. So maybe if you got kicked out, maybe you could heckle other players. Maybe you could be driving from the finish line in reverse to go hassle people. There's stuff they could have done with that and they didn't. Maybe there's DLC coming that'll fix that, and maybe I'll be interested. But both games are very good. Just it's a bummer coming from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which was the everything Mario Kart game. They changed enough to make it different, but they did not improve enough to make it necessary. Still happy to have it. My kid likes it. Came with the Switch too, so keep it moving. Above that, this one's a couple years old by date. Mario and Sonic at the Olympics, and also the Olympics 2020 version for Xbox. Both these games were very cheap, and they make my son happy. They got him interested in the Olympics and Olympic sports, and he wants to be an Olympian, which, from my genetics, is not going to happen. But it's given him something else to really be invested in. So I hope the Olympic Committee decides to not be scummy for a minute and give the license back to Sega. They split it up between a bunch of free-to-play games for the last one, and I don't think it worked out for them. So, hoping they continue to do some legitimate games, but they are trash, so they'll probably just go to the scummiest bidder. Number 5, Ball Cross Pit, or Ball X Pit. It really filled that void of the previous addictions that I had to Vampire Survivors and Balatro. Like, that's this year's Balatro. They add base building. It's a constant shooter, kind of like Vampire Survivors, and it has that roguelike or roguelite elements that you see in those other, like Just Another Run game that was in those other two games. Number 4, another game from a couple of years ago, Atari 50. It had some DLC come out this year, which is great. I did a 2025 Extra Life stream with my gaming community, and we spent hours going through Atari 50, and it was just such a blast. None of us were alive during that time. And just going through, like, and how they did the whole packaging, the videos, the atmosphere, adding all these additional elements, it really made you feel like you were in that time. Like, you have this nostalgia that you're not actually nostalgic for, and it's just really great. So I actually bought Atari 50 twice. I have it for Switch and Xbox, and I've purchased the DLC, I think, on multiple systems too. So, great game. Check it out. So I quit this game for 6 months, and I'm back. The game number 3 is Fortnite, specifically the Simpsons season. It was great to go through that, how much love and respect they had to Simpsons. I haven't been with Simpsons since I was in high school, but it's just wonderful to come back, how well they integrated that, and they're doing cool stuff. What really brought me back was not so much I missed it, I got the crew membership included with Game Pass, so it's triggering that part of, like, I gotta use every part of the cow. So I'm back in, I'm doing the dailies. Constant iteration, refinement, throwing 1,000 people in a live service game. You can't beat it. I'll probably take a break next year, and that's when I'll play all these other games. So 90% of these other games, they were played during my Fortnite break, and taking a break allowed me to have that time. Number 2, one of the games that I played during that Fortnite break was number 2, Death Stranding 2 on the beach. I didn't like as much as the first one. The first one I had to play like 3 or 4 times. Like, I had to attempt to play it 3 or 4 times before it stuck. But when it stuck, I was in. This one did not capture me on that level, but I loved it. I loved what they did with the story. They smoothed out so much of the jank in the first one. They almost made it too easy to play. They almost made it too easy to make deliveries, but I could have just walked and then made it like the first one. But the weirdness felt a little bit forced, but definitely a higher budget for cast and songs and all that stuff. So really great stuff. And there's times there where you just walk in with your overloaded person, and it's just wonderful to just vibe out to that game. before Kojima takes back over with another 20-minute cutscene. That brings us to number 1, Game of the Year, Donkey Kong Bonanza for Nintendo Switch. I feel bad. One, because it's probably Bonanza, not Bonanza. But I feel bad because I went into this thinking it was a kid's game. I didn't buy it at launch. I kind of talked to some other people, like saying, like, let's wait for reviews. And because they kind of positioned it like a kid's game. And I feel like a dummy. Maybe I was just reading what I wanted to read in that. Maybe I was kind of letting Mario Kart World, my disappointment with that, take over. But we bought it a couple weeks in, mostly because my son played it at a kiosk and he really liked just tearing everything up. And there is a visceralness similar to Doom the Dark Ages in just tearing up that environment. Every button on the controller is smashing the world and looking for bananas and stuff. And usually the collectathon thing isn't for me, but they really made it fun. And it's not punishing to find this stuff. You can typically find this stuff pretty quick. But what they did with just that control and the tightness of the control and the freedom, like you're not flying, it's not open world, you're in these contained environments, but you can smash everything, which just gives you a special sense of freedom. And that visceralness, which is typically associated with like how I can hurt people, is really just how you can dig, where you can dig, what you can make the game do. And it gets kind of broken in some points, but just lovely. The boss battles were tough. So that felt good, and it's a kid's game, it's an adult game, it's everything, and it's very therapeutic. I had some bad days, and I would just go wild on those buttons. I would just go crazy on that stuff, like take out a whole level, and just feel better. 2025 kind of sucked. My family made progress, but just the world, I felt like we're sinking, man. And the games, like, if you ask me about 2025 without me thinking about it, I'd say it stunk. I'd say GTA 6 didn't come out, and I'm just bummed. And Switch 2 is just a Switch Pro, like that stuff. I'm just bummed, and you think of like it's so impossible to afford a computer these days that, yeah, I just kind of bad vibes about the year. And then you think about Xbox continually tripping over their own feet, whether it be intentionally or non-intentionally, just one mistake after another. I'm still an Xbox guy. If anything, it makes me feel like I'm back in the Dreamcast days when everybody was just saying, just wait for PlayStation 2. It just makes me want to say I'm a Dreamcast guy. I'm an Xbox guy. Because that company's dumb. And they should not have increased the price of Game Pass, and they shouldn't have included Call of Duty. But I'm still here, man. I got that Game Pass bought through June next year, so I'm in till at least that point. I own 2 Xbox Series consoles, and I might be the only person buying them these days. But thinking about the top 10 games, I think that's kind of why I do this with games and movies. It just reminds me there's a lot of amazing stuff out there, and also reminds me that I have a ton of blind spots. Thank you for rolling with me through 2025. I've done these lists for like 20 years. Maybe I'll put a link to that in the description of the YouTube. Have a great 2026. I'll see you on the other side.